KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years. Matson, gold sponsor of the 2018 Micro Games in Yap. The all-new 2018 Kona by Hyundai, available at Cars Plus. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, located in Tamuning and Dedido. Always open, always local.
Ahead on Prime Time, the latest with the debate between Adelup and the legislature as they battle it out over the sales tax bill. Plus, another former GPD top brass sounds off on the gun incident involving the lieutenant governor of Guam. And remembering a fallen friend, GTA honors Jose Blas Jr., who was killed in a serious car crash in Sinahanya. Day and good evening. A last-minute call to session to take action on the governor's veto of the sales tax bill was scrapped shortly after it began. Senators met briefly before Senator Frank Uggan Jr. challenged Speaker Benjamin Cruz to submit written justification for the emergency meeting. Cruz said he would before abruptly adjourning. The Speaker had called the session late Friday to vote on a potential override. The repeal measure had passed by an 11-4 margin, which is more than enough for an override if the voting stays the same. Cruz says the sales tax scheduled to begin in October was meant to be a key new revenue source for the government, and the appropriations chairman says he needs to know the numbers before he can pass a budget.
In spite of some people acting like there was no fiscal crisis, there really is a fiscal crisis, and in the chart I showed you that the numbers that we were getting from withholding and from the income tax money, the amounts that were going to be coming from Section 30, even we were going to be short 145.
Cruz was just one of four senators and the only Democrat to vote against the sales tax repeal. He was joined by Republicans Tommy Morrison, Luis Muña, and Will Castro. Cruz says while he understands why his Democratic colleagues don't want to raise taxes, he says the government will, quote, go over a fiscal cliff without any new revenues. He introduced two separate tax increase bills to bring in more revenue.
The money's not floating in plastic tubs like the cocaine is floating in, or is it falling out of the sky? We've got to generate revenue somehow, and the only way I know how we can generate revenue is with these small little taxes.
One of his bills would increase the hotel occupancy tax from 11% to 15%. The other would increase the business privilege tax from 5% to 5.5% and extend it beyond its October 1st sunset date. Public hearings on the bills are scheduled for Monday. Earlier, the governor called a news conference to announce his veto. He also implored senators not to mount an override, saying the 2% sales tax was the best way to avert an almost certain fiscal crisis. Nestor Locanto reports.
I think it is just downright irresponsible. It's practically a crime.
That's what the governor thinks of the legislature's repeal of the sales tax. He maintains that the government's finances are stable right now, but will be crippled if no new revenues are identified once the 1% GRT increase ends in October.
October 1st, if they continue in this direction, will be the day that those those senators that have decided to run this course and move in this direction, they will drive this government bus and this island economy off a cliff.
The governor is predicting a revenue shortfall of as much as $160 million. And Budget Director Lester Carlson says the administration has done its best to cut $30 million in costs and live within its already reduced appropriations. Meanwhile, the governor has found an unlikely ally in Speaker Benjamin Cruz, who has introduced a pair of tax increase measures, one raising the hotel occupancy tax from 11% to 15%, another to extend the BPT increase to 5.5%.
If that's the bill that presents itself to our administration, of course I'll sign it.
But his preference is for the 2% sales tax. While senators need 10 votes to override, the repeal passed by a more than enough 11-4 margin. Calvo is hoping at least 2 might change their minds.
As far as I'm concerned, if my veto is sustained, then there is no crisis, because we still have time to avert it.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Keep education a top priority. This according to the Guam Education Board, who passed a resolution warning lawmakers that if budget shortfalls continue, cuts could impact education operations, including the long-awaited rebuild of Simon Sanchez High School. Carmen Terlahi reports.
Make education a top priority or face the consequences. According to DOE, the financial crisis for the Department of Education could mean a projected budget shortfall of $65 million. Jay Rojas, Executive Director of the Guam Economic Development Authority, says Guam's finances has implications for the long-anticipated rebuild of Simon Sanchez High.
As we're looking at what we're going to need to be spending for Simon Sanchez, what has been authorized by law, how the Guam Department of Education and its procurement will have to go out for financing for Simon Sanchez. In the event that the rating agencies do end up downgrading the Guam General Fund obligations, we are going to be looking at quite a bit of a higher interest rate that are going to be stuck with.
Rojas projects an increased interest rate of 6 to 7%. Board members stressing the urgency to get the dilapidated GIGO campus rebuilt, amongst other concerns that budget cuts are leading into Phase 3 that could impact personnel. Board member Peter Alexis Ada.
We're really putting everybody in jeopardy. Everybody. From the schools to the staff. Even I read here somewhere there's a I don't know, it was in discussion purposes, a possibility of a furlough. And if you have a husband and a wife working for the Department of Education, man, you got hit double. We have, as a board, a responsibility to let the people of Guam know ahead of time and not wait until the 11th hour to say, oh, we forgot to tell you this.
No cuts are final. The board's resolution stresses the need for facility funding for Simon Sanchez and the possible conversion of Chief Brody from an elementary to a middle school. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Carmen Victoria Terlahi.
The vote to renew Guahan Academy Charter School was legal. This according to the Office of the Attorney General, who issued an opinion on the matter saying even though GACS doesn't meet a requirement by the law of accreditation within 5 years, council members weighed other factors. Members noted GACS's recent appeal to WASC and possibly found student success outweighs the 5-year accreditation requirement. You can view the AG's opinion on our website. Meantime, the council is working with the charter school to make sure the school is accredited. Charter school stakeholders are scheduled to meet on Monday. As the investigation into Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio's controversial gun grab gets underway, another voice joins the chorus of former GPD chiefs questioning how safe it was for an overseer of public safety to grab a loaded weapon after loading up on some beers. Chris Barnett has more.
Former Guam Police Chief Paul Suba today spoke with KUAM News on the Lieutenant Governor's grabbing of a SWAT officer's weapon last weekend at the barbecue block party. Suba said police officers should always justify drawing their weapons, and pulling a loaded gun out of its holster is something that has to be taken seriously. Suba also seeming to question Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio's justification for pulling Sergeant Carl Cruz's duty weapon out of its holster in what he has repeatedly called a teaching moment that he said he was obligated to perform as an overseer of public safety.
You cannot draw a firearm out in public without true justification, and justification doesn't fall within certain explanations necessarily. I think that will be brought out if that is the case.
Tenorio saying as the public safety czar, he had a responsibility to sneak up behind Cruz and remove his weapon as a way to show Sergeant Cruz he felt his firearm was not secured. KUAM News confirms Tenorio repeatedly tried to grab Cruz's gun after the first time, and surveillance video showed both men had to be restrained after Cruz pushed Tenorio. Suba wasted no time saying what everyone's been thinking. What if someone else had done the same thing?
We're not going to dance around this issue. If it was anyone that did that, the officer would have taken action.
We've also confirmed eyewitnesses saying Tenorio was visibly intoxicated, although he told KUAM News' Sabrina Salas-Montanani he had about 2 or 3 beers. Suba telling KUAM News trying to handle firearms when you've been drinking, a no-brainer.
That's common sense, and we've seen the reasons why.
While Tenorio offered apologies in a KUAM News interview, he also said what he did was justified. He wasn't above the law and he hadn't committed a crime. But we asked former Chief Suba, what would an average person be charged with if they had done the same thing Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio did?
Assault on an officer, it could be if the weapon was drawn. Of course, what we're hearing now that the AG is going to look into a reckless conduct type of thing. Does the person that took the weapon have the proper identification, firearm ID requirement, is it up to date, whatever. But the point is that any citizen should know now, if they hadn't known before, you do not do this.
Tenorio has admitted he doesn't have a valid firearms ID. While 3 former police chiefs have spoken out about Tenorio's incident, current GPD head honcho J.I. Cruz, a prominent supporter of Tenorio's bid for Adelup, has yet to comment publicly on the issue. For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
The cash-strapped church is having a sale you don't want to miss. Come next week, Hotel Action, better known as the former Redemptorist Martyr Seminary, is opening its doors for a closing-out sale. Here's what you thrifters and deal hunters and maybe the curious want to know before you go. Everything must go.
The contents that are in that hotel are now up for sale.
This flyer circulated over social media on Friday. Polly Mike Chrysostomo confirming it's the real deal.
The flyer came out, it wasn't to address it as a seminary anymore because it's not, so it just reverted to its original name, which was Hotel Action.
Former Hotel Action, better known to Island Catholics as the former Redemptorist Martyr Seminary, is up for sale. Now, all its contents and anything not secured to the ground are up for sale too.
The diocese, the owner, of course, of that property and building and contents have decided to sell the items just to get rid of them.
Up for grabs, kitchen appliances, construction materials, beds, and chapel furniture, to name a few.
Every bedroom has, simple contents like beds, dresser drawers, shelvings, desks, small refrigerators, things like that. And then, of course, it was we had the dining area. So you have dining room tables. You have the hotel-like kitchen, stainless steel, that type of thing. So you have all of that in place. Good news because we are being good stewards of the property to try to ensure that it just doesn't sit there and get vandalized or whether it gets dilapidated.
All the profits from the cash and carry sale will go towards paying down church debts, specifically the close to 200 clergy sexual abuse lawsuits heading for settlement.
All of the funding and all of the proceeds, my understanding is that it's going to be placed in an account that will not be touched until the attorneys decide what to do with that.
The property was listed for sale after the seminary was closed in December. Inquiries, but no confirmed buyers just yet.
It is for sale already, but we're just right now trying to secure a buyer, and that's what the understanding of the Finance Council is trying to do, I believe, at this point, is just trying to secure a buyer.
The cash and carry sale is scheduled for Saturday, July 28th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's first come, first served. KUAM is currently working with the church to arrange a first look at the items for sale. A local telecom company is honoring the memory of their fallen colleague and friend. Jose Blas Jr. was one of 2 people killed following that serious crash in Sinahaña earlier this week. The GTA engineer now being remembered by those he worked with day in and day out. Jason Salas has the story.
Badge number 825. This marking is placed on the official GTA units in memory of Jose Blas Jr.
Not seeing him being around, it is hard.
The past couple of days have been difficult for Felix Patao. Blas's chair is now empty. A candle and a black ribbon is all that's left.
Yes, it is hard to believe of, what happened, but things like this is unforeseen. I still feel hurt about what's going on, and I feel for him and his family.
Blas was driving a GTA van on Wednesday when the crash occurred. 78-year-old Edward Eclavea was in the other car. Both men, unfortunately, did not survive. Their deaths have been ruled an accident. For the time being, others like longtime co-workers like Frank Mofness recall the good times.
Every morning we love to share stories, with our coffee. Just gonna miss him,
He's a very dependable guy. He's very dedicated to his his work, and he's a very good friend. He's a very happy guy. He likes to smile a lot. He talks a lot, and he also means well.
His family at GTA also put black ribbons on their badges in his memory. Blas was 52 years old.
We'll be right back after the break.
There are more ways to experience KUAM News than any other source on Guam. Download the KUAM News app for your Apple or Android device for 24/7 news, sports, videos, weather, streaming with KUAM radio, and important news alerts. And stay connected at home with Guam's first app for Apple TV. All available now from the App Store.
A simple handshake. That's all Jake Calvo needed when he started his company. Today, 80 years later, we like to say thank you to all of you who have taken our hand in trust. Thank you to the dreamers. Thank you to the realists. Thank you to the family-oriented. Thank you to the entrepreneurial. Thank you to those climbing the corporate ladder. And to the ones starting a new life together. Thank you to the traditionalists and the edgy. To the young at heart and the old souls. Thank you to the daring, to the protective, to the practical. Thank you to the hopeful. To all of you from all of us, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
When I was much younger, my dad told me, never forget where you come from. As a nurse, lawmaker, and a banker, I have seen the struggles that our people face. Inadequate health care, outdated government regulations, crushing government debt, the rising cost of living, record crime rates, and an economy that is fragile. All of these things affect us in a very real and personal way, and you have shared your hopes, your fears, and your disappointments. Democrats on Guam have championed policies that enable people to reach their potential. Together, we can truly make a change, restoring faith in our future. It's time for change we can trust.
I'm Lilian Guerrero, and I approve this message.
Chuck E. Cheese's Guam just got a whole lot funner. Chuck E. Cheese and Helen are excited to welcome friends Pasquale and Jasper to Guam. Join us on Friday, July 13th at 6 p.m. for a great welcome party. Food and token specials all night long. Be part of the party at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. There are more ways to experience Guam via KUAM News, giving you what you want, when you want, and how you want it. From smart devices, Alexa, what's in the news?
Here's your flash briefing.
Over the web, on mobile, on streaming platforms, with immersive, interactive formats, and via social media where it's more than just content, it's conversation. More ways to keep you informed and entertained whenever you want it, wherever you are, on whatever device you're using.
U.S. territories could be added to the National Amber Alert System if a measure introduced by Congresswoman Madeline Bordallo is passed. H.R. 6350, or the Amber Alert Nationwide Act, is a bipartisan bill that authorizes federal funding to integrate U.S. territories into the National Amber Alert System, which mobilizes the American public in response to cases of missing, abducted, or exploited children. It also receives support by the nonprofit National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Bordallo says Congress just expanded the Amber Alert to include Indian reservations and tribal law enforcement agencies. She says we should finish the job by passing her bipartisan bill this year. Guam Election Commission regular meeting today as preparations for Decision 2018 already underway at the GEC. Absentee ballots sent out and discussion centering around feeding the nearly 400 election workers who will be on the clock for the primary election. And for the first time ever, the GEC will feed primary poll personnel 2 meals each at the 22 polling sites and at the GEC office in Nagutnya. Here's GEC Director Maria Pangilinan.
With regard to feeding the precinct officials are there from 5:30 on until about 8:30, and they're not allowed to take a break.
Social Security.
As far as costs, no clue yet. Also discussed, numbers are up for the primary. Volunteer registrars are doing their thing, and Pangilinan says an increase in registered voters this year may be because of the highly competitive Democratic Party primary election.
49,363 registered voters. This year, for 2018, only in June, we already have 51,382.
Pangilinan says the GEC is expecting higher voter turnout in Decision 2018, partly because it is a gubernatorial election this year. If your summer plans include travel to Yap, you should be on the alert of a possible outbreak of rotavirus disease. The Department of Public Health and Social Services reports 141 cases of diarrhea. 7 cases were hospitalized. 71 cases required rehydration, and 13 out of 16 lab tests were positive for rotavirus. Rotavirus is a viral infection that causes inflammation of the stomach and intestines. Though it mostly affects children, anyone can get rotavirus disease. Public Health warns that if you're traveling to Yap, minimize exposure with persons who are sick and make sure your babies are vaccinated. Congratulations to the 15 graduates who received U.S. Labor Department certification as journeymen. The GPA employees completed a 6-year-long apprenticeship training program, which not only opens up new opportunities for them, but also provides much-needed bench strength for GPA as more and more veteran employees retire. The journeyman positions include load dispatcher, line installer, powerhouse electrician, powerhouse mechanic, and arc welder. 30 years on the bench. On Friday, a surprise ceremony was held to commemorate presiding judge Alberto Lamarana III's service to the judiciary of Guam. The 5-term senator who spent a decade in private practice was appointed to the trial court by former Guam Governor Joseph Atta.
Thank you very much for attending. I'm really overwhelmed. But you know, time flies when you're having fun. You know, I've always enjoyed my tenure. Not that I didn't enjoy being a senator for the Guam legislature for 10 years, because I really love that job. I also love this job as well, and 30 years went by so fast.
Sports is next, but first, here's your island weather.
Make every day a plus.
Summer is here, and at Cars Plus and Mighty, that means big savings during our summer clearance event. Right now, save up to $8,000 on select 2018 Ram 1500 SLT Crew Cab, or save $3,250 on a 2018 Chrysler Pacifica, voted Family Car of the Year. 1.99 APR financing is available for qualified buyers. Plus, buy today and receive a Cars Plus value card, where you get 21 cents off per gallon at all Shell stations. Don't miss our summer clearance event, going on now at Cars Plus and Mighty. Cars Plus, driven by you.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. I'll get to some info on tomorrow's Show Your Road Jiu-Jitsu workshop taking place at the Guam Museum in just a bit. But first off, you know how we do it every Friday. We hit you up with your Rent-A-Own Athlete of the Week. Check it out. We're here at Rent-A-Own Manila for our Athlete of the Week. And today we have mixed martial arts fighter Rocky Martinez.
So, Champ, who you going to donate this check to?
I'd like to donate the check to GAIN, Guam Animals in Need.
All right, Roka, your fight just a few weeks away. Let's talk about the final preparations you're going to be doing during fight camp.
As far as the final preps go, right now I'm just kind of focusing on the conditioning, get the lungs burning good, and fine-tuning my technique and stuff like that. Nothing too hard, you know, maybe got a couple more hard sparring days left, but as far as that, it's just really fine-tuning and getting in tune with the fight itself.
Now you're Guam's most active heavyweight, one of the guys that has continued to still fight after so many years. You had a few setbacks along the way, but you keep grinding. What fuels that fire within you?
For the most part, man, I'm just I'm super competitive, and not only that, like you said, the setbacks, it's kind of something that motivated me, and you know, my last loss, I that feeling hurt so bad, and I don't ever want to lose again, and you know, I work hard, and I'm very motivated to do the sport.
You've kept that streak. The last time anybody has put a blemish on your record was back in 2011. Strength and conditioning has been one of the main focal points of your mixed martial arts career. You said it, the last few fights you feel really good in the later rounds. What do you attribute your strength and conditioning to?
A lot of it is, you know, one of my friends and strength and conditioning coach, Ray Chargaloff. Man, that guy really, he works me well. He knows what works for me. And I think with his knowledge and everything, it's taken me to another level. And it pays off in training and my last few fights. So, and we kind of picked it up a notch again. So I'm excited to see what it does in this fight now. You know, we just keep getting better and we're pushing the envelope every time.
You're fighting a home crowd favorite, nicknamed the Samurai Mark Hunt. Big shoes to fill, but he's shown it. Last fight, he's won by knockout.
Yeah, actually all 11 fights of his are either by KO or TKO. His records may not be the best, but he's a dangerous fighter, and I think that's what makes it exciting. We're both kind of stand-up guys, so I think we're just going to come out there, slug it out, and see who comes out with the win. But right now I can't say I'm going to lose, so I'm looking for the knockout, that's for sure.
All right, congratulations. Stay tuned to our next Rent-A-Own Athlete of the Week.
KUAM Sports Athlete of the Week is brought to you by
Show Your Road Jiu-Jitsu Workshop, free this Saturday at the Guam Museum. Kids hit the mat first from 10 to 11 in the morning, followed by the adults from 12 to 2 in the afternoon for the seminar and open mat. Space is limited, so hit up info@showyourroad.com.
It's going to be hosted by one of the best jiu-jitsu athletes of all time, Marcus Bushesh Almeida, Gutenberg Pereira, and then also one of the best lightweight females in the world, Jazari Matuda. For me, the biggest thing is just each team has their own flag, and each student is loyal to their instructor or their team, and I think that's how it should be. But at the end of the day, when you unify everybody as one, you know, we are one team. When we represent outside the island, we are Guam, we are jiu-jitsu. It's a whole. So for one day and for little times in the year, we get to all unite. So that was the focus and the goal behind this mission, was to bring the best people from around the world to Guam, offer a free seminar to all gyms, all kids, all adults, and with the help of all the sponsors, make it possible.
Well, that's going to do it for sports. We're back right after this.
Say hello to high-speed data on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. We've just upped your prepaid data, so make your big plans bigger with 1 gigabyte of data per day. Bigger prepaid data for your big plans that just keep getting better. Enjoy high-speed data and unlimited local talk and text on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. Text LTE to 3282, select a plan, and enjoy 1 gigabyte of data per day. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Where will your sip take you?
You're going to need more than an oil change.
Okay.
Okay.
Try our new slushies at McDonald's. Tropic Twist, Blue Raspberry, and Cherry Limeade. Perfect for summer, for a limited time.
Check out Triple J's spectacular July deals going on now during the hot summer savings event. 0 down, 1.9% financing, and easy trade-in. Get into a 2018 Mazda 3 Sport for as low as $15,995. Or a big boy truck, the Ford F-150, starting at $298 per paycheck. Or the North American Car of the Year, the 2018 Honda Accord at only $206 per paycheck. Plus, receive a free limited edition Liberation gift pack with every vehicle purchase. Visit us online at triplejguam.com and get pre-approved instantly. Triple J Auto Group, customers first.
And before we close out the news tonight, here's our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club. Happy birthday to you, Heather Santos, and happy birthday, Rico Crisostomo, all the way from Malolo, from your family and friends. And happy birthday, Peter Gay, turning 16 today. Love your family. Remember, you can be a part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online on KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo your name and birth date and our favorite time of the week. To announce the winner of the yummy Cold Stone Creamery birthday cake this week is Joseph Babauta. Congrats. A rep from Cold Stone will reach out to you to let you know how you can redeem your ice cream cake. That's going to do it for me here. But stay tuned, Extra is up next.
Closed captioning is brought to you by IT&E.
All right, everybody, thanks so much for sticking with us. I'm Jason Salas, and this is KUM News Extra. Tonight, we will talk liberation with our queen this year.